So why is it so important to spend time alone, to spend time in silence? I would like to say because when you spend time alone and you spend time in silence, it helps you develop a better understanding of yourself. And when you understand yourself more, you're more likely to do things that you love, and you're more likely to do things that interest you. See, when you're alone, it allows you to look at your life in a macro view. It allows you to take a look at your behavior, and it allows you to take a look at how you're interacting in the world, the direction that you're taking your life, the things that you're actually doing. So it allows you to actually take the time to see how you're operating. And the thing about it is that you tend to look at every aspect, not just yourself, but also your friends. You start to look at, man, I got to stop hanging out with them. I got to stop going to the club all the time. I got to stop drinking. I got to stop doing drugs. You really start to do a little introspection and seeing where you're going wrong in life. Maybe you need to surround yourself with friends that are, wanting the same things that you're wanting, that are trying to take their life to a new level the same way you are. Maybe you need to get some more friends that are like that. But as long as you're out and about and you're surrounded by them, you'll never be able to take that time to actually look at what you're actually doing and to see how you're actually operating. So along with that, you'll also be taking a look at how you're operating in the world. Are your goals aligned with what you're actually doing? So we all probably subconsciously have some goals, even though they shouldn't be subconsciously. We should know what we want and we should know what we need to be doing to actually achieve them. But not everybody operates that way. Some of us do New Year's goals. So where New Year comes around and they do these New Year resolutions, which is just funny to me. But anytime people do New Year resolutions, I can already tell you that they're not going to stick to it. I can already tell you they're not going to stick to them. But when you take time to yourself, you start to actually look at if what you're actually doing is actually aligned with where you want to go or where you want to be down the road. So you start to look at your job. Like, is this job going to get me to this position? Or I've been in this position for this long. Why am I still here? I need to go do this. I need to go over here. I need to go to this new company. Why am I still at this company? This company doesn't see anything in me. They don't value me. I haven't grown. I haven't gotten to a new position in over 5 years. You start to see all these things. You start to actually look at your life and see where things are wrong. And you start to poke holes into where you maybe need to change or need to fix something in order to align yourself back with the goals that you had set for yourself. Now, if you're out and you're always consumed by, your friends, your family, and things like that, your partner, you'll never get that time to actually look at your life from a macro view. You never get to look at your job from a macro view. So this is part of the reason why spending time alone is very important. Now, I'm not saying to always be in silence or always to be alone like you're a monk or something, because even monks have community. They have other monks that they spend time in isolation with. So we're social beings at the end of the day. So I'm not telling you to, totally isolate yourself forever. But there needs to be periods where you isolate yourself, whether it's a week, whether it's a month, or whether it's a season. Maybe you need to isolate yourself for a season to get clarity on the direction you want to take your life, or to get clarity on the type of friends that you want to have in life, or to get clarity on, changing bad habits into good habits in order to achieve the goals that you want in life. And it's hard to do that if you have all this noise around you. And I don't literally mean noise like people yelling or something, but noise is anything that's in conflict with what you're trying to do. If it's friends, if it's your partner, if it's drinking, if it's TV, if it's always eating, if it's talking on the phone, that's all considered noise. Those are all distractions from, isolating yourself and getting a clear understanding of yourself. So sometimes you may need to put your phone down, get off of social media for, a few hours, or get off of social media for a week. I do weekly disconnects where I'll disconnect from social media for a week. I won't post nothing. I won't look at anybody's stuff for a week. Just so I can sit in my thoughts for a little bit. I can really see where I'm at. I can take that macro view. A macro view is just taking a step back and looking at everything from a whole. So I can take that view when I'm not distracted and actually see, am I being productive with my life? Am I doing what I need to do to get to where I want to be? So this is why being alone is very important and is very crucial if you're trying to develop yourself and if you're trying to achieve certain goals for yourself. You know what I mean? If you're trying to be great at something, then you need to spend more time doing that specific thing and less time dealing with distraction and things that are not going to get you towards that goal. And only when you are alone can you really see what's affecting you, because it's hard to see things when you're in the midst of it. It's hard to see how toxic you are in a relationship when you're in the middle of the argument or when you're in the middle of it. It's only when you're able to step back and pull yourself back and look at things from a whole view can you really see how toxic you're being. And then once you realize that, now you're able to change that behavior. You're able to dissect that behavior. What do I need to do differently so I'm not like that person? So I'm not like this. You know what I mean? So we need to spend more time in isolation, a lot more time being alone, a lot more time in our thoughts in order to achieve our goals, in order to have some success in our life, and in order to cut out bad habits. Because most of the time, if you tell somebody they're an alcoholic, they don't even realize they're an alcoholic because they're in the midst of it. But you, being somebody looking at something objectively from the outside, you're putting things together. You're putting patterns together. Like, man, you drink every day around this time, or man, you're downing a bottle every day. You're an alcoholic, but they don't see it because they're in the midst of it. They're not in a position to where they can see things from a macro view because they haven't spent that time alone and actually took a step back to identify their bad behavior and the things that have been really, have an effect on their life. So that's what I want us to start doing. I want us to start spending, depending on you, like what you're comfortable with. If you can do an hour, do an hour. If you can do longer than that, if you can do a day, do a day. If you can do a week, do a week. If you can do a season, do a season. But that doesn't mean to always be alone, to always stay alone, because we're social and we need to be around people. We need to be around community, because that's how we operate and that's how we thrive. Because if you're alone too long, if you're alone too often, you start to slip into like depression, which is why when you're acting up in prison, they throw you in isolation. And people get in isolation so long that they go crazy. So to spend that type of time alone, you need to know what you can handle and what you can't handle. So that varies depending on the person. But I think it's something that we all need to do in order to change bad habits, change the direction of our life, and in order to achieve certain goals. But I thank you guys for checking out this video. I always appreciate it. You guys could be spending your time doing something else, so I'm glad that you're spending the time with me. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm out.